Hello there, this is Will Terry here, and I've got Anthony Beneke with me today, and we're going to be talking about getting your game listed on Board Game Geek. And Anthony is the former student of SVS slash graphic designer slash now business partner
Yeah.
with me on Wicked Christmas, and so we'll get to hear from him in a little bit. But first, I just wanted to tell you like why we're making this video. This is part of the video series, How to Make a Card Game. And there's a whole playlist of these videos start to finish. I think this is video number 7 in the series, and this is basically a video on how you can, if you're interested in making a board game or a card game, can kind of follow along in our footsteps here. So the one of the things that happened was we made the game, and then we started to put it out on Facebook, and we started to market it with Facebook ads. So Anthony kind of came in and joined me in this project in time to start running the Facebook ads. And so Anthony's been the expert on that, running that. And and like the second day, because we created a Facebook page, we've created a Facebook page in a group,
Right.
and in the page, we got this comment from a guy who is really in the gaming board game world, and he's like, his comment was, "I think this game is a scam. I wouldn't support this." And so I'm like, I read that comment, and I'm like, it's not a scam. So I got a little defensive at first in my mind, but I didn't let that show in my comment. So I just responded back, "Why do you think that this is a scam?" And he's like, "Well, you don't have anything on your." He messaged me on Messenger, and he says, "Well, you don't have anything on your Facebook page. You just have a Facebook page with like your logo and the name of the game and a picture, and that's it. And nobody's commenting on anything. Nothing's happening there. No activity. And then you're not even listed on Board Game Geek." And so I'm like, "What's Board Game Geek?" And he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh man." And so I used him as a resource, and he went. We got in this long conversation, and he's like, "Board Game Geek, is it boardgamegeek.com?"
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So Board Game Geek is like the IMDb uh for board games and card games. And so if you're not listed there, you're not really real as far as like the gaming community. So we're gonna, whenever we see it, the name of a game, we're gonna go right over to Board Game Geek and look it up and look at all the stats and see if you're legit. Because you can't really get on that site if you're not legitimate.
Mhm.
So that's where you come in, Anthony, because Anthony was the one who actually got us listed on Board Game Geek. So we've kind of divided out the tasks of working on the marketing of this game, and you took on that task. So that's why you're on this video. So I'm going to
Right.
interview you. So
Okay.
besides being a graphic designer, you're also kind of a detail guy, right?
I'm very detail oriented.
Yeah.
I have that eye for like editing things and especially grammar mistakes and just changing the flow and saying I'm reading this and it just sounds choppy or whatnot. I just like to. That's just something I've just always been good at. Just was always just a good student
And
growing
me
up. Yeah.
recognizing that strength in you, I'm
Yeah.
like, I hate doing this stuff. So as soon as Anthony was willing to do the Board Game Geek thing, I'm like, take it away. So do you want to share your screen and kind of show us?
Yeah.
We're going to
Yeah.
go through um, pretty much like what it's like to list your game on this site, and Anthony's just going to walk us through a little bit of it from starting off with how did you get to this page? Because if somebody wants to get here,
Yeah, so let me just go back to the homepage here, just to kind of show you
okay,
guys what the landing page looks like. It's I don't know how old this site is, but it seems like it's pretty functional for the most part. They just looks like they just kind of promote a lot of different crowdfunding games, and
hmm
they just have a lot of other like big publishers. Like I think there's a lot of games by Hasbro in here, and it could be a lot of games that big publishers post themselves, and if there's games that people have played in the past, I think you can actually submit them as like a fan just to be like, hey, like we don't see this game in your directory. People can go there too if it's not, I believe it's not their own game, or
okay,
people can kind of go to other people's games and comment on them or give them reviews. And it's
hmm
kind of like more of like a community of board game enthusiasts, and they can kind of you know talk about games they liked or disliked, or they can kind
Hmm.
of give other games feedback. So that's like what's really important about creating this kind of an account as an independent creator, is that you can, you might develop a lot of different fans just by marketing it. And after
Yeah.
people get the game from you through the Kickstarter and they start playing it, if any kind of feedback that you get, whether it's good or bad, I feel like it's valuable. It's
Yeah,
just like
and it's also a resource for retailers too. So retailers
yeah,
can find your game here. So
right.
did you find that page under
Yeah,
community?
so what you would do to list your game on Board Game Geek is you're going to go to the community tab here at the top. You're going to go down to contribute, and you're going to open up the tab that says board game. Um,
Even though we're a card game.
we are a card game, so that's just how it's listed out. And you have options to do publisher. I'm not sure. I'm not super familiar with this site, so I'm not sure what family and person
Hmm.
accessory I guess all is. That podcast
But
might be
we're the
interesting for you
publisher,
guys.
right?
Yeah, we would be publisher too, so that is another one I did set up. I'll just create. I'm gonna keep this ones open. But yeah, so essentially, when you're creating your game, you're gonna go ahead and just kind of fill out some information here. So ours is, Wicked Christmas card game. And then I just specified, we could have just left it as Wicked Christmas, but I wanted to specify that it's a card game too. Just so that way it's just there in the title. It's a little
Hmm.
bit more specific. Because Wicked Christmas, it could be, a tabletop game, it could be a video game, it could be whatever. But I think just kind of being a little bit more specific
Hmm.
with your title just gives people a little bit more insight. And then you'll just kind of fill things out as far as like a description. It's just showing it's already there because we've already created one. But essentially, it kind of gives you some recommendations for little descriptions that you could do. And a lot of this, I wasn't really fully sure what kind of information we could put down or what descriptions we could do. So we developed a lot of our content over the course of our marketing. There's just little ads that we've done. We tried different headlines and different description text and to see which ones perform better.
Hmm.
So we didn't. I think initially we just kind of put something in that we found was seemed like it described our game very well. But I think we've made some revisions over time. So I think here in the next couple of weeks we're going to go ahead and plan on submitting. Anytime you have to edit your descriptions or any information about your game, it actually gets submitted to Board Game Geek, and they have a team that reviews it, and they'll submit it. They'll publish it on your behalf. But so this is just kind of like a form that you send them to say, hey, this is information about our game. We want to put this up here on our site or make
Hmm.
any changes. So I think over the next couple of weeks, we're going to go ahead and probably refine some of the information because we've learned a lot over the last, last month or two.
Hmm.
And we're just going to probably just anytime you can kind of get anything up to speed or the more accurate the information is, the better it looks to anybody that's doing research on your game. So
Hmm.
yeah, so you just kind of come down here into like the year it was released. So this is like an account you're creating like 3 games later or 3 years later after you've created your game, then
Hmm.
you might have an earlier release date. Ours, even though we're publishing the Kickstarter in October, in 2024, we're actually releasing it in 2025 because that'll be
When we get our
the
games.
fulfillment
Yeah.
date, right? So I
Hmm.
think initially I submitted it as 2024, but I put it in the notes because you can kind of add little like additional information to the person reviewing it. You can let them know. I just
Hmm.
gave them all the details. I'm saying, hey, this is when we're expecting to fulfill it. So they actually put it as 2025 for us. So
Oh,
that kind
did
of like
they?
answered.
Okay.
I wasn't really sure what to do, and they ended up kind of answering that for us. So
Okay.
and then you can kind of put the minimum amount of players and the maximum. I do, and you guys will see on the next page, because I'll just kind of scroll down through here. I
What's
don't think
funny is
any,
I'm actually learning all this stuff along with
are you?
the
I
viewers
know,
right
I just
now
kind of like just did it
because
for
we
us.
haven't gone through this together and I don't even
Yeah,
know what you
you're
did.
busy on doing a lot of the artwork stuff, and
I'm like, oh, is that what
I
we
took
did?
on all this
Okay.
like admin work. Yeah, so yeah, so there's just a bunch of different fields of information, and it doesn't have to be like super like the more information that can be filled out, the less you have to get it reviewed by them.
Hmm.
The more information you can input first, the better.
Hmm.
But there's some things that we might have to go through in there and refine and whatnot. But and then as a publisher, because we're I think what you created it's called Wonky Penguin Games.
Hmm.
So we actually created our own little independent publisher profile as well. So that's something you have to do separately. So that way, when you submit it to Board Game Geek,
And by the
they'll
way, I created an LLC and I did that on LegalZoom.
okay, legal.
It was pretty cheap. Definitely, it's like double the cost if I went through the state of Arizona's website.
Right.
But there's the the whole reason that that LegalZoom can exist is because of state websites, right? So
Hmm.
like rather than like wonder if I'm doing things right or not, I want to be walked through confidently to know that I'm doing something right or wrong. And that's what LegalZoom does. And it costs double what it would have cost to get my LLC through the state.
Right.
So instead of like, let's say $100, I can't remember exactly what it would have been through the state. It was like $200 through LegalZoom, but I can sleep well at night knowing that I can get done with setting up an LLC in like half an hour or an hour,
Yeah.
and then it's going to be done. And then I'm going to get all the
Process by then.
documentation. And they're going to
Okay.
submit it for me. It was totally worth $100. So I'm just throwing that
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a headache if you're trying to do it. I'm
Oh,
sure a whole different
well, and then we had to like,
process.
we would have had to take a trip into Phoenix to drop off the paperwork.
Paperwork. Yeah.
Yeah. Or mail it, and it would have taken like an extra 2 weeks or something. But this way we could get it done because I guess they courier it in there or something. Anyway,
Right. But yeah, and I know just the fact that just creating the LLC it was important because I know you do plan on doing more games in the future.
right,
So especially if this one does well. So by having that publisher profile and having the LLC, if people go and say, "Oh, I want to check out like what's Wonky Penguin," and I want to check that out, and if they go to your page, now you have multiple games. They can see all the games all listed within that one publisher. So if they're just searching one game, they may stumble across, in the future, if you do like a Halloween one or you do
right.
whatever you decide to do, one with penguins, I don't
Yeah,
know. They'll go search that game. They'll see Wicked Christmas, and if
yeah.
you happen to have, an extra, we order extra games to sell, or we get into retail or wherever it takes us, like they'll be able to possibly be like, hey, I want to check that one out too, and it's just a way to cross promote all of the projects
Mhm,
that you've worked on. So yeah, you just kind of again put in the year released. There's just a lot of different things. You put the dimensions of the box, and usually you'll know that through the manufacturer that you're working with.
mhm,
So we used Long Pack Games, and they're they provided all of that in the quote. So and that helped us design the box and
mhm.
all that. So and the weight they only seem to have it in pounds and kilograms. I think the weight of the box was I don't know if they listed that actually on the sheet that Long Pack gave you. But I think
Mm.
I whatever I put in there, I actually used. We have a little scale, so
So you just wait it,
yeah, I just weighed it.
because we got a
Uh,
prototype that's going
mhm.
to be pretty accurate.
Yeah, so luckily I had that. So otherwise, that would have just been something that we could have. So because it's not required, you can see
Mhm,
the little red dots there or stars that just says they're required. So, but wait, that could have been something we went back in and added later.
mhm,
Um, and then let's see what else we've got here. Pre-order. I think that would probably we could probably go back in and add our Kickstarter
oh,
pre-launch page and
mhm,
things like that. So I'll probably go in here within the next within this week too. And
mhm,
then notes to admin. So I just let them know this is where I told them about the details about the game, when we expect to get it to our customers.
mm.
And that's kind of and you can put any other kind of information there, but that's just something for and if you don't see any fields here up at the top that you feel like needs an answer, you can at least ask that to them there and they should be able to get back to you.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how you submit how do you create a board game listing. In our case, it was a card game listing.
Mhm. You
As
want
far
to
as like adding what the category is, it would actually be here. I don't think I covered that. So ours, you can see card game.
card
That's the one
game?
I selected. And I asked because I wasn't really sure what kind of category ours because you can actually add multiple categories. And I asked
Mhm,
Chat GPT what like based on all the I put in, like inputted our rule sheet and all that kind of stuff. And I said, hey, like what do you think categories do you think this falls under based on Board Game Geeks,
mhm,
criteria? And it gave me a few other options. So and after I created it, let's see, I created this here. So after it got approved,
mhm,
um, and essentially, pasted all the description information, and it doesn't put up the thumbnail right away. So you actually have to go in and submit that later on as well. Um,
It's not
and
an easy process, is it?
no, not really. I wish it was more intuitive to where like you have your own account
Like
and you can
just
kind of
super,
manage
but
it.
they're careful, right? Because they're checking all the information that we
Yeah, they want to make sure it's all accurate and up to date, and they don't
and
want people to go in and just randomly change something if it's not.
hmm
I don't know. They want to make sure they're presenting all the information in a professional way.
hmm
So, um, and then because we do offer expansion packs in our in Wicked Christmas, so they recommended when you're uploading this information to do just whatever comes in your base game, which is 3 to 4 players. And then I believe there's a couple listings that we would have to actually create now for each
hmm
expansion pack, and we'll have to get
Oh,
that
interesting.
approved as well. So it kind of all connects. But if we eventually get it to a point where I think if it were to get into retail, then we could, we may ended up just combining
If we
everything
sell
in one
everything together,
package.
then we'll
And
change
then
that.
we would have to ask to get approved to have that change from like 3 to 6 players.
Right.
And we may actually I think we were promoting this now as 15 to 90 minutes
Yeah.
for the game because each round I think was taken. I think when I played it with my family, it took us about now that we've played it multiple times, it's
hmm
just super fun. But we get through each round about within like 7 minutes.
Right.
The more
And you could
strategic people
play,
are,
the
it
thing
takes a
is, you
little bit
could
longer
play one hand if you were and play for 7 minutes, or you could
just
play
for
for
fun. Yeah,
15. We've had people say, well, I think the 30 to 90 minutes would scare some people off if they
yeah.
don't have that much time to play a game.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, that's just if you're gonna keep score, and if whoever's
yeah,
watching this, if you guys
if
get the
you're going to
game,
go to a certain
you'll
number,
understand
like a goal
how it
of
works.
200 points or 300 points or 400 points. Yeah.
Yeah, people can
It's
modify
interesting
any
because we
game
could have
really.
put 15 minutes to 60 minutes and maybe that would be better, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think just having that little range, I feel like it kind of tells people that you can really kind of it depends on how long you want to play. I
Yeah.
mean, I there's some games like yeah, they take forever, but sometimes you just want to just get that quick game in just for fun, just to kind of pass some time. And
hmm
I feel like this game does it, and it's fun regardless of whether you're keeping score or not.
Yeah.
It's just fun. We were just, I don't know, me and my family were just playing it and just having just a good time. We were just talking, and it's just one of those games you can kind of chit chat and just still keep focus all at the same
hmm
time. And some games that are strategic. You kind of all have to kind of sit there quietly and try to think through the process of planning
Right.
which next moves in your head. And it's just very still and quiet. And that those games aren't as fun. But this one definitely comes across as a party game to me, or it could just be just a casual game for fun. But I think when you're, especially around the holidays, you're gonna have a lot of family or friends around, and if you guys want to play like a group game together, it's just the perfect game to kind of keep the vibes going, and
hmm
but you can still have fun and be
Good
competitive all at the
infomercial.
same time. Yeah, I want to play this game year round. To be honest, I can't get enough of it. So it's the perfect game for me at least. But yeah, essentially, this is just where all the information is going to be. You can submit more images. It's not super intuitive of where to go.
hmm
We had to kind of, maneuver through a bunch of pages here, but you would just click upload,
mm
essentially, and then it'll submit the images to them. And after
hmm
the image actually got submitted, it still didn't put the profile
Yeah, it
up there.
didn't show up for,
I had to let them know, hey, we actually need you to put that as the thumbnail image for us. So Um, but yeah, that's essentially where you go for that. And I think you can put videos up there. So I know we're having a game trailer made. So
hmm
this is probably a good platform to put it on as well.
hmm
And there's forums, so I think people can kind of come in and create new posts. Because this is just the main profile of the game. This isn't like our back end management system. This is something
hmm
that people kind of go to as a public user, and they can subscribe along to the page. I'm not sure how that works, but I think if
if
updates are
people hate
made,
our game, can they put comments on there? Like
yeah, if you
they
want
can rate it.
to. I don't. Yeah, I mean, it might not be for everybody, but I think it's for a lot more people. I think people are gonna love it. And they can give it ratings. Looks like has the
Mhm.
overview, stats. I'm not really sure what all this extra stuff is. This is where you would see if there are any expansions
Oh
or
yeah.
so like games like what, like Cards Against Humanity, you have a lot of expansions. I know that. Like Exploding Kittens. I know those were games that started as Kickstarters too. They ended up in stores. I'm not super familiar with a ton of other games at the moment that offer expansions, but this is just essentially where you could go to find all that
Mhm.
stuff. And then um, not sure what this one would be, but yeah,
So the
but
cool
that's
thing is if someone Googles Wicked Christmas now, it can show up on Board Game Geek. Like that could be one of the
yeah, it
places
could
where
be
it
yeah.
shows up.
I'll have to take a look at that. And then again, when you go to submit your information as the publisher, it'll give you another form here, for game publisher. So you just enter all of your information. We did Wonky Penguin Games,
Hmm.
or I think it's just Wonky Penguin LLC, but our logo says games on it.
Yeah.
Give a description of what it is. You can kind of, give any other details here, notes to admin. And once it's approved, you'll see your page here. And
And
again,
there's
we
the
had to do
game
the same
underneath of it.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to upload our logo and get that submitted, and still we had to ask them to make that the thumbnail. So but yeah, it'll show all of your games here. So if someone comes and says, "Hey, I saw the logo on that game box, or I just came across, Wonky Penguin. I want to find out more information about them." And if they know about Board Game Geek, they'll come here and check it out, and they'll see all of your games. So if you only have one, they'll just show the one. If it has multiple, it'll show out all of them.
Hmm.
It's like you can kind of filter how many you want per page. But yeah, you'll click on that, and then they can go ahead and go back to the page I previously showed you guys. Um, yeah, it's
Cool.
it's pretty cool as a directory for a lot of other games. And I think if you want to browse more, you just kind of go here and you can find other publishers. You can go to all the board games, and it'll just show you um, a lot of them. I don't really know how to maneuver it. I guess you would probably go more in the search bar at the top if you want to
Hmm.
find something specific. But if you're just kind of wanting to just kind of browse through things, you can definitely do so. So.
Hmm.
Pretty cool. I don't know what these ones have these open. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for going through that, Anthony. That
Yeah, no
was
problem.
great. And
Hopefully I didn't miss anything. But, do you have any other
no,
questions
I think
about?
this is great. What I really wanted to do is on this series is give people kind of just a heads up on like all these videos are stuff you got to do if you're gonna like we didn't know about this until that comment came in, and now we do, and now we're listed there, so we're in full compliance on
All
for the
right.
board game community people. And you guys will, if you're following this series and finding it helpful, you'll probably see Anthony in future ones because he's been instrumental in well, maybe we'll show the game box sometime and like
Right.
some of your redesigns of stuff that I did. Um,
Right.
and I don't know, we're definitely going to live stream, or at least we're planning on live streaming our Kickstarter launch, which is on October 1st.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I set a time or not on that. I think I did, but I think
Yeah,
it'll
I'm
be in
not
the
sure what time it
morning.
gets released. I think it might have just been a general date, but I think once we're ready to publish it, we can
Yeah.
probably set. But I think right now we just have it set as October 1st.
I think we'll plan on the morning of October 1st. So,
Okay.
morning in the US, sometime Pacific Coast time, around
Okay.
maybe 8 or 9 or something like that, hopefully.
Right. And
But
I
anyway,
think it may open up like a day or two early. I'm not sure how it works for any of like the VIPs that we have
oh,
to get all the expansions because we have to add some kind of like VIP special
uh-huh.
or something. We're trying to figure out the specifics on pricing and all that kind of stuff for
Okay.
so they can get their promo
If
pack.
any of you are interested in being a VIP and getting the Scrooge expansion pack for $1, it'll be $5 on the Kickstarter, but you get it for $1. You
Right.
can follow the link right below, and it will
I'll just
take you
open it up here.
to, yeah, to the landing page where
Yeah,
you
you'll
can
just go to
then,
this landing page. You'll just enter your email, and if you'll just open up the bonus pack. You can kind of find all the
what
information
happens
here.
if you hit claim your bonus?
Um, if you just claim it,
Yeah,
so
hit claim.
if I want to, then,
Oh, you have to put in an email. You can't do it without putting in an email.
yeah,
Is that
okay,
one you don't use that much?
yeah, yeah. So you would go here. Essentially, you what you reserve the game for $1.
You know, the expansion for a
And it'll give
dollar.
you the expansion for free. So in reality, you're getting the
Yeah,
expansion pack, one of the expansion packs for $1
yeah,
instead of having to pay for $5 when the Kickstarter launches. And this just gave us a lot of, I don't know if you've really covered this on your videos or not, but essentially it just kind of gives us a really true, accurate forecast of how many people are interested
yeah,
in purchasing the game. So it's given us a lot of value as far as like, hey, I think it's worth marketing this game and spending some
yeah.
money on Facebook
And
ads.
we're around 1,200 on that dollar reservation right now, right?
We're at 1350, starting to scale a lot
1,350.
quicker. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think
So that's 1,350 people that have given us a dollar for that
yep,
expansion pack. This is, and I went over Launch Boom's um their marketing plan. It's just amazing.
yep.
Some people refer to it as a scam. We went over that too. I don't
Mhm.
understand why, but anyway, loving it, and thanks a lot, Anthony,
Yeah.
for
Yeah, no problem. And I just want to also add, if you guys don't want to go to the VIP special, but you guys kind of want to wait until the Kickstarter launches, we actually have our pre-launch campaign up now. So if you guys
yeah.
want, you can follow it, and then Kickstarter will notify you guys like the moment that we launch, so that we don't have to
I'll put a
rely.
link to that below too.
Will you? Okay,
Yeah,
cool. All
yeah,
right, cool. Yeah.
cool.
All right.
Well,
Well,
thanks
thanks
for
for having me on.
watching, and we will have another video pretty soon on the next step. So, yeah, exciting stuff.
Okay, cool.
All right, see you later.
See ya. Bye.